All. Today we will discuss about Procure to Pay Cycle. We can call it as accounts payable process also. I have prepared 7 slider PPT for you to understand the P2P cycle. Understand all the stages of P2P cycle with me and you will be ready to explain to answer P2P cycle in any interview. So to understand the steps involved in the Procure to Pay process, first we need to understand what is P2P and why it is required. Now let's start with what is P2P process and why it is required. So P2P is the process of obtaining the raw materials needed for manufacturing a product or providing a service and making payment for these. Okay. So now when in interview, interviewer asks for the definition of P2P, then you can answer with this definition. Now why it is required? Every manufacturing unit or service provider needs to run this cycle efficiently if they need to manage their cash flow and the goodwill with the suppliers. Okay. So this is the first slide in which we have provided the definition of P2P and why it is required. Okay. So now second slide. This is the first step of P2P. So P2P starts with requirement of raw material. Once there is a requirement of raw material, company requests for the quotations from the vendor. Once receive quotation on the basis of quality of goods or services, transportation charges, terms of payment, the vendor is finalized. Next stage, once vendor is finalized, procurement purchasing department send purchase order to vendor and as per the descriptions mentioned in the purchase order, vendor provides us the goods. Okay, so now next stage, once goods are received, purchasing department creates goods receipt. The goods received is compared with purchase orders to validate two-way match. When the goods are received, the first entry is booked in the books, that is inventory account debit to GRIR account. So in the P2P cycle, the first entry we booked when we receive the goods and the entry is inventory account debit to GRIR account. Okay. Now, once the verification of goods is done and receive the invoice from vendor, accounts department process invoice into system. Okay. The below entry is booked for invoice received, that is GRIR account debit to vendor account. So this is the second entry in our P2P cycle. When we receive the invoice from vendor, we book this entry and the entry is GRIR account debit to vendor account. Next stage, after taking necessary approvals from project managers, the invoice gets paid as per the due date. When payment is made to vendor, the final entry is booked into our books, that is vendor account debit to bank account. So this is the third and last entry, which is vendor account debit to bank account when we pay to the vendor. Okay. And the final payment is made, then the cycle comes to end. Okay, so this is the complete P2P process. Okay, so any question if you have, you can ask in the comment box. I will more than happy to answer these queries. Thank you.